What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of That Hobby Show. With me, as always, is Houston from Chasing the Graph. What is going on, my friend?
Not a whole lot, man. My indigestion is off the charts tonight.
Gotcha. Yeah, I took some Tums earlier, so I did it before showtime, so I'm good to go. But
Yeah, I knocked him out about 30 seconds ago, maybe.
so it was hard to come up with a title for this week's show. So I just went with the generic "This Week in Trading Cards" because it's been a pretty huge week in trading cards. If you don't follow trading cards, it's probably two of the biggest things that could happen, and maybe even some people on eBay. And so that's where we'll start out with this week's show. So there's a company called PWCC or PWCC Marketplace. They're one of the largest, if not the largest, sellers on eBay. And this week, eBay pretty much kicked them to the curb for doing what it wasn't really a secret in the hobby that I know of. But they were accused of shill bidding. And what shill bidding is, if people don't know, that's basically, say I have something on eBay that I'm trying to sell, and I want it when you have an auction. Naturally, you want to maximize your profits, get as much out of it, out of that item that you can. So,
Yeah.
shill bidding is, say I'm selling something and I hit you up on Twitter or Facebook, and I'm like, "Hey, Houston, this isn't doing too good. Can you, place a bid on this for me and try and get the price up?" Because when most of the time when you bid on eBay, each buyer is different. Me on eBay, I usually put my max bid in right away, right? Or you can, say I'm selling something for 99 cents. You bid $5, but the winning bid will only be $1. It only bids up incrementally, whatever it is to take over the lead in that auction without going over your max bid. I would probably bid like 25 or 50 cents at a time, but with PWCC, they were asking people to bid in increments of hundreds of dollars. And yeah, and it even came out that there was some emails or messages, texts or whatever from the owner of, or the CEO, I don't know, CEO owner of PWCC, that he was contacting people and telling them to bid up on their own items. So me personally, that's one of the names that I stay away from when I see them on eBay, is PWCC, them, and I don't know if you pronounce it Probstein or Probstein auctions, but those are pretty notorious for shill bids. And now everybody's kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop on Probstein,
Yeah.
see if they're going to get shut down. And so once eBay actually kicked them to the curb, they had 17,000 listings. So if that gives you an idea of just how big these people are. And yeah, but apparently they're going to be starting their own auction platform. So
Yeah, I was reading up on that, and I mean, I guess it's just like with anything else, they have their loyalty still, and the people follow them. But I just, I think it'd be kind of hard to get that off the ground once after everything that came off. But like I said, I definitely they have their following. There's people that's going to go with them no matter what. But with their new auction, it's going to be interesting to see how well it does starting out.
yeah, and we got Ken checking in. What's up, Ken? How's it going, buddy? Uh, yeah, me personally, it's never really affected me negatively because I know me, I can be competitive in auctions and just bid and go past my max bid. And I'm like, I've already bid this much. What's $2 more? And then what's $3 more? And then you end up going over your cap by about 75 or $100. But luckily, I've never had that happen. So, because like I said, I stay away from those sellers, because of their history. And yeah, I'm kind of glad to see eBay's cleaning it up. It will be interesting to see what's going to go on with this new auction house, if their fees are going to go up and stuff like that. Because you send your item to them and they have a vault. It's like, from what I've heard, it's like some crazy enormous vault where they store everything, but then there's a vault fee too. And I want to say they only accept, certain items over a certain dollar amount, which
their website, if you go to their website, it's basically like we only take on the highest end of highest end cards. And if you look at their website, the word investment just on the homepage is used probably a billion times. And they're like, I even think there's like a statement on there, just like on the homepage. It's like, the trading card industry is so fun and nostalgic, but it's also an investment. And sports cards haven't just boomed during the pandemic; they've been booming, which is a complete lie. And maybe I'm looking into that a little, or reading into that more than I probably should. But yeah, it basically their website's like we only take like the highest end of cards, and that this is for investments only kind of thing.
yeah. So for guys like you and me, the sports card industry is booming. But for as far as it always been booming, I don't think me and you own those type of items. I don't have a Jordan rookie. I don't have a Gretzky rookie. I don't have the Magic Bird rookie with Dr. J. I don't have any of that. I have a bunch of game used baseball stuff, and even that's low end. So, they wouldn't even take any of my stuff. They'd be like, what the hell do you want me to do with this, man? This authentic jersey, game worn, costs less than the replicas in the team store. So, stuff like that. But
I know we were talking because when the whole thing went down, I admittedly was like PWCC. I was like PWCC. What does the plain white envelope shipping they introduced have to do with shield bidding? Like, how does that affect anything? And I was like, oh well, I guess people who were marking their stuff up $4 to ship it, that's what it was going with. And I had really never even heard of PWCC, and once I saw their website, I found out why.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen their listings and just read stuff on the Twitterverse. But like Ken said, I've probably bid on something because I bid on a lot of stupid stuff, but I don't think they would have anything that I wanted. But I've definitely never won anything from them. I think I've actually bid on more Probstein or Probstein, if somebody can correct me on how to say it. I think I've definitely bid on their stuff. I haven't won because of the shill bids, and it's you can kind of tell who it is. It's like they kind of block out most of the username, but it'll be like QYZ followed by a bunch of numbers, and their feedback history is a 0. There's because people have been around long enough that they've been able to figure out who the shill bidders are. Just like it's huge. Like I was saying earlier, I have a bunch of game use stuff. It's huge on the MLB auction site. Topps is notorious, which we'll get into them for bidding up on items. Because believe it or not, that's actually where they get some of their game use stuff. That they chop up is the MLB auction sites. And yeah, and the usernames are actually known that, okay, this is Topps. It's not like it says Top 69 or something on it, but people know who their usernames is. But the other news, I'm probably in the minority, but I know if Ken is watching, he probably agrees with me, and I definitely know you agree with me. Topps has lost their license to produce cards within the next few years, and I am over the moon. I love it. I absolutely love it. Because if people are fans of the show, if we have that hobby show groupies or fans, Topps is part of the reason why I started collecting Japanese, Chinese, and Korean baseball cards, because Topps is boring as shit, and it's the same regurgitated stuff over and over. Uh, Me being a fan of Asian baseball players, it's one of my biggest pet peeves is photoshopping the jerseys of these brand new Asian players. So they'll get a picture of them when they're in Korea, Japan, whatever, and Photoshop a picture. And it's not a recent picture either. It's like 2 or 3 years old. And then they do a shitty airbrush job uh, of putting the new team on there. And I just think it's really lazy. It's not creative. And yeah, I'm not sad for him, because it's the same thing over and over, same players over and over and over again. Like my buddy Dan last week, he was a Don Mattingly collector, but he only collects. Well, at the time, he only collected Mattingly during his active playing years. And I think if you go on trading card database and look at how many cards of Mattingly was released during the time that he was playing and then post retirement, I think he has double, maybe triple the cards post retirement. That, I mean, I understand that guys like Nolan Ryan, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, all those dudes are super popular, and it's cool to see them on modern cards, but I want that situational lefty that pitched 6 innings this year. I want him to have a card. I would like to see something like that. Other than me being a huge Orioles fan, Brooks Robinson and Jim Palmer don't need that many cards, and yeah. But so Ken did he did reply. He's not joyous, not as happy as me, but yeah, the doom and gloom, man. I could not believe it when I took to Twitter and seen how many people, it was like not even like their family member died. I've seen people post less about a death in the family than Topps. And it was like, man, Topps helped put my kid through college, and I had a flat tire and they stopped and helped me change it. Topps didn't do any of that shit for these people, and they're acting like this is something that they can't live without, like, you really can't live without your thumb. I can live without Topps. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it'd be tough to, twist stuff off, but still, like, come on.
Yeah, and this is where I've struggled, and I have had a lot of people extremely disagree with what I say. But to me, okay, you got your Topps that is licensed. You get your little cute little Cubs blue and white C on the jersey, or your red, white, and blue Texas, T on the jersey, and you get this extremely lame, boring ass card that you can barely read the name on. That's your card. You got your logos, you got the name, and everything else. But then you get over to Panini Baseball Select and Don Russ, and you don't have these cute little blue and white C Cubs logo or your little red, white, and blue Texas T. But the cards are so much more fun to look at. They're so much fun to pull, and there's so much color and there's so much going on with them. I would rather have a Don Russ, or especially Don Russ mainly, but I'd rather have Don Russ baseball and have some really badass looking cards with no logos than opposed to a really boring ass Topps card that you can barely read the name on that has the logos on it. And I know people, anybody's been in the hobby for more than 10 minutes, they're like, oh my God, my logos. How does this not have a logo on it? And my whole thing is most of these MLB players have switched teams multiple times. And of course, you want to collect your player with that team, like most people with Ichiro and the Mariners, and there may be a few that only like him with the Yankees, and that's fine. I get that, but
I'm more of an Ichiro Marlin collector personally, so
yeah, and just going back to the whole like unlicensed license thing, I just think Don Russ cards look so much better than Tops, and to me, if that player has no logo, but their picture and their card and the picture on the card look pretty badass, then that's what I'm gonna go with. Because I think it was 3 or 4 different products that in 2020 Topps used the same picture for Mountcastle in like 4 different products. It's like, Jesus Christ, you couldn't find something else, like another picture of Ryan Mountcastle to put on a card, so you just went with the same image on
yeah.
3 or 4 different products.
He's been in Bowman releases, I want to say 3, maybe 4 years. So they got plenty of pictures, but MPB Card Guy made a really good comment. So yeah, lately though, Topps has been beating that 1984 design to death. I love it, but geez. But yeah, and one of the things too, so with the no logos and stuff, I used to be one of those dudes where I hated it. So I wouldn't buy the boxes, but in their photography, they actually do a pretty decent job of hiding it. And one of the things that I've noticed is, so a person like me that collects Asian players, they usually get the Asian players in their sets before Topps does. Them and Leaf have done a really good job of it. And then one of the cool things, the latest Leaf release, they had a card of Hassan Kim, and they used his Korean jersey. They didn't airbrush out the old logo or nothing. They said Leroy Jenkins, man, and they full send. And it's a really, really nice looking card. The only bad thing is that Leaf release, it's one of those limited ones where it's like a box is 4 cards per pack or 4 cards per box type thing. So people are charging like $6-7 or not charging, they're asking for that on eBay. But so let's go down with the actual details. I was trying to do a lot of research. So Topps was actually going to go public. I believe they were voting on it next week with the board or however mergers. So they were going to have a merger with Murdoch Capital. And then once MLB pulled the plug on the exclusive license, the merger, no more. Yeah. So ending in 2022, the players' images cannot be used. And this is what I read. And that's controlled by the players' union, which that will be interesting that if they can't use the images, because I had it reversed, because in after the 2025 season, they're not able to use the team logos, which are controlled by MLB. And I thought that it was they weren't going to be able to use the team logos after 2025. So, or I'm sorry, after 2022. So that might get a little bit more tricky, because is Topps going to do like almost like a Cooperstown collection type thing? I don't know if MLB controls that. It would really be cool to see them do a Negro League set, since earlier this year, MLB just now acknowledged that the league is a major league. And so they started counting the stats and added those players to the all-time player count for MLB. So maybe that's something they could do. I doubt they would ever do that, because it's like a bunch of 20-somethings that only care about NFTs or whatever there. But Yeah, not sad at all. Love it. And the crazy thing is, when MLB did this deal with Fanatics, they actually invested in Fanatics. I'll have to find the article real fast, but while I'm doing that, was there anything else you wanted to add?
I was doing some research earlier. So in the article I read, it was from the Wall Street Journal about 3 days ago, and I don't know. I guess how much Wall Street Journal is invested in the sports card market. So some of this information may be kind of loose or may has changed in the last 3 days. But basically, from what I understand, is the NFL, MLB, and the NBA has said we will give Fanatics the players' images, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the NBA and the MLB has said we will give the logos to Fanatics. As of the article I read, the NFL has not said yet that they will give Fanatics the rights to the logos and everything. So as it stands right now, Fanatics looks to be kind of your one-stop shop for sports cards in the coming years.
Everything, dude.
Yeah, so right now the only thing they lack from the three major sports are the logos to the NFL. And I got to imagine that if they're just kind of trying to monopolize this thing, that at some point in the next uh, month or so, they'll probably have those, um, you know, retained. And so if they have the players or if they have the imaging, the player's image and the league license, they're going to be the one stop shop for sports cards. And I don't know. I told my wife I kind of think this league, not so much as with Panini because they've had a little more success, during the boom in the pandemic. But I know I'm wrong because Tops will figure out something. But I think this kind of leaves Tops in the dust, and there's no real coming back for them. Just my opinion.
Yeah, so the article I found was the NFL and MLB, they invested 150 million in Fanatics in 2017. Last year, the 350 million money raised. Yeah, I should have read this out loud because it reads dumb. But anyway, supposedly it resulted in 100 million equity increase in the holdings in Fanatics for MLB and NFL. So they have a lot of money to be made by this. But also the thing is, though, with Panini, this is way more exclusive from what I understand. So I think Panini and people like Leaf may be gone as well. But I could be wrong because there's a bunch of stuff that can change. Personally, what I think is going to happen, and I've heard a lot of people also say this, is that basically Fanatics is going to buy Topps because now they're not doing the merger, they're not going public, so they're ripe for the picking, and people weren't realizing there was so much like the brand loyalty blew my mind, and they were like, oh, I'm not going to buy a Fanatics card, this is horse shit, and I'm like, there's no way Fanatics is going to start a card company from the ground up and start producing Fanatics branded cards within the next couple years, because what Fanatics does is they acquire things, just like Majestic. They used to be the exclusive manufacturer for MLB jerseys. What did Fanatics do? Fanatics bought them. So now Fanatics owns that. They didn't start a jersey company by themselves. They bought it. Somebody that's already been doing it. So they could buy Topps. Hell, they could buy Upper Deck, maybe Panini. Make it like the 90s when stuff was cool. when cards were cool. But then, people say it's another junk wax era, but kind of is now, So, but
And that's what people were saying too is I seen it more in a Facebook group. I don't know why than I did on Twitter. I don't think I seen it on Twitter at all, but in a card Facebook group I'm in, so many posts were made that day that was like, oh my 2019 top rookie in 10 years is going to be worth $400 billion. Oh, I better hang on to my tops cards because they're going to be worth something now. And
yeah,
pre 2019, I think that might hold true for some cards that in even as early as like 10 years that they might actually go up in value. But anything 2019 and on is not going to be worth anything, whether Tops shits the bed completely or not.
yeah. One thing though, I would not want to be holding a redemption card right now. And this is another reason why, pretty much all redemptions suck. Because, just trying to get your redemptions redeemed and then, trying to get a fair replacement. And then I'd say 9 times out of 10, if you ask for a replacement, the people really aren't happy with it 9 times out of 10. So what I would be doing if I haven't tried to redeem a redemption, I would be selling that bad boy or requesting a replacement, because I know one of the things that people were frustrated about was the new wrestling release from Topps. So I've seen people, they had redemptions for John Cena from like 2016, 2017, but with this new release, he had live autographs. So
how does that work?
yeah, right. So stuff like that. Yeah. What about So Seth said, what about a Trevor Lawrence rookie card? Honestly, it's hot right now. People overreact. I think last week Justin Fields was getting ready to be inducted into Canton. He got leveled yesterday. So now, people are a little bit pump the brakes. But, I don't know. There's quarterbacks.
People were like losing their mind because I think it was Justin Fields who said that the game was actually slow to him.
Oh yeah, because you were third and fourth string, dude.
And yeah, exactly. And you're in a preseason game. You're not going to get a player's best. They're out there to get reps in, to loosen up, and just to kind of get back into the feel of the game. They're out there to win, but they're not really out there to win in the preseason. And so people are like, "Oh my God, Justin Fields is already the greatest, and he doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to improve at all." And I'm like, "This is like his second preseason game. Like, sure, there may be something there, absolutely, but come game 2, if his O line isn't shit, it doesn't matter how good he is." And I know that as a Panthers fan because of Cam Newton. No matter how good he was, the O line sucked balls.
Yeah. So, me personally, I wouldn't invest in a rookie quarterback. If I was going to invest, I would do it when it's too late. Like now, I feel comfortable buying Patrick Mahomes. So, but even me being a Ravens fan, I'm still a little iffy on Lamar. Because he's great during the regular season, but the dude can't win a postseason game. So, and that's where legends are made. People talk about Trent Dilfer because he won a Super Bowl, not because he was badass or anything. But then it's always, yeah, but the Ravens defense. Well, yeah, he still won a Super Bowl, and former Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco. And look at his rookie cards; they were like going crazy. And then, so Baker, I don't know, man. It seems like for some reason I follow a lot of Cleveland people on Twitter, whether it's Indians or Browns. And it's one week they love Baker, the next week they don't love Baker. Yeah, so I don't know. But Ken made a good point right here. Yeah. So yeah, Yeah, that if I had the meme where you're pointing up, I'm pointing down. So the one card that I want that it still won't come down in price that's comfortable with me. Johnny Manziel has a baseball card.
Yep.
He has that Bowman release because he was drafted by the Padres back in the day when they had like 50 or 60 rounds. So he's in a Bowman, I want to say it's a Bowman Chrome release, and he has an autograph in it. And I still think it's a couple $100 card, and it very rarely comes up on eBay. But I want one because he's a Heisman winner. And then, like, I still want a Jameis Winston Florida State card. And that's another guy that people were, investing in super heavily. Then, he was licking W's and stealing crab legs. And then his prices went down. And now they kind of went back up again. And then who's he with now? Is he still with the Saints?
Yeah, because I think they're actually trying to name him a starter over Taysom Hill, if I'm not mistaken.
But that's the thing. So they don't even know if he's going to be the starter, him or Taysom Hill. Like, so hopefully that brings the value down of his Leaf card, because that's his Florida State is the Leaf card.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that, I mean, just because a player isn't active for 3-4 years, or is only taking, like reps when Drew Brees goes out because he's got to get his dislocated finger popped in or something like that. And I don't know. It's such a fine line between invest and collect, and I don't think that anyone, my opinion, I don't think anyone that invests can truly be happy, sitting on the edge all the time. Because three things: Vince Young, Greg Odom, and then Yerman Mercedes. Like, those are three reasons right there not to invest in rookies or early, and even with all the great things that Justin Herbert did and the absolute phenomenal rookie season he had, and his card was for a few $1,000s, and kid may go out there second game of this year, and I hope I'm wrong, but he may go out second game of this year, have a Joe Theismann, type injury, and then you just bought a $3,000, PSA 10 graded auto.
Yeah,
here's a good a matter of minutes.
Yeah, that's another good one. Pretty much anybody. Yeah, well, Jamarcus is still watching tape. That's why, But it's almost Heisman winners, honestly. David Klingler. I've heard that name. I don't know who it is. But
RG3.
Yeah, but that was kind of the Redskins' fault. I feel bad for him, since he was a Raven. And we had the Heisman package. That was pretty sweet, with him and Lamar and Ingram. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, man, Aristides Aquino, the Punisher, man. His stuff was going for crazy amounts. And it's like, are you just looking at the front of the card? Turn it over and look at the back and look at their birth date. Not saying that they can't be great, but when you're 26, 27, 28, and you didn't go to college and you're just now breaking in, then yeah, that might be a problem. But yeah.
And the whole thing about people, and just kind of going like back on topic, but
that's fine. We're kind of off topic, so who cares?
Oh, yeah, and I mean, it was a good conversation. So, but the people who are saying they're not going to buy Fanatic sports cards, the pandemic proved that that's a lie, because people are paying $80 and $90 for a blaster. And when the Prism hangers first came out, the first two that hit eBay, Prism hangers, were $19.99, and the first two NBA Prism 2021 Prism hangers that hit eBay both sold for $190 that were $20 in store. So people are going to buy the sports cards, and they're going to be salty about it for the next 4, 5, 6 months, but they're still going to buy them. So there's no point in even crying about it. There's nothing they can do about it.
People are buying everything. Have you Have you seen the prices of Fortnite cards?
Yeah, that hollow whatever it is, that one goes for a couple grand.
Yeah, of the dude in the armor that looks like a
Yep.
knight. It's a couple $1,000 card of something that doesn't exist. I mean, in real life, I can't go to an autograph signing and meet this dude. I don't know if they talk in Fortnite. I would have to ask my kids because I don't play it. So maybe there's a voice actor or something. But yeah, it kind of blows my mind.
And I met a friend that works at Target. I didn't know he worked at Target. I guess it was early this week. I seen him in there. I was looking for wrestling figures, and he said that the Dragon Ball Z cards are now starting to not sit on the shelf as long because they have some uh, fancy foil cards that are unlike any other card design between sports cards or Magic, and people are like dying for those. So now the Dragon Ball Z cards are starting to not sit on the shelf. He said people. He said it's not very many, but people are coming there and buying them by the handfuls, and they don't last more than a couple of days on the shelf. And I was just like,
Yeah. Well, all the places around me, dude, I cannot find cards. I got lucky a couple weeks ago at Walgreens, and I actually found a hanger of tops. I think Series 2. And that's the first cards I've found in my area in a couple years. I did see some other cards on the shelves. It was Upper Deck Hockey, the rookie Alexis Frenier or whatever.
mm-hmm.
They came out with the set for him. It's just all him, but I mean I didn't buy those. But yeah, dude, I have not been able to find anything. I haven't really looked. So I've actually saved a lot of gas money by not going to Walmart because I would just go there specifically to look for cards. And I only go there if I want to people watch or need
Feel a
something.
little bit better about yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I was there today, man. I feel great.
And I really, as far as like going in Target, and Walmart looking for cards, I've been going in looking for wrestling figures, and one
Yeah,
out of every 3 times I go in there, I'll peep the card section, but there's no point in even checking for the cards, and it's a whole like long ass story. But there's two guys around here that they're friends with the Walmart manager. They have the Anderson Reps Cash App, and they have another guy that used to work for Anderson, and so between all those two dudes are always there. They're first in line. They'll sit in the store for hours if they have to, and they take anything that is of value, the Prism NBA, Prism NFL, Select NBA, and they clear it out, and they will not share with anybody in line. They don't care if it's a 3-year-old or a 300-year-old. They're not going to share. So, and between that and me learning a lot of that, I just there's no point in even looking. So, like I said, I go in there and look for wrestling figures like the loser that I am.
nah. But yeah, the thing is, so that's what separates the collectors from the investors. Like there's so much cool stuff out there that I want that's not modern. That Topps going away, Fanatics coming in. It does not affect me in one bit at all because there's so much other cool shit that came out before I was even born. So I want to get that stuff because I know that there's not a whole lot of it out there. But so yeah, you mentioned the wrestling figures and stuff, and you are getting away from the stick and ball sports cards.
Yeah, and I guess it's just the big thing that I guess wrestling is playing off of now with the bunch of signings that WWE and AEW have done, and they're just basically, I feel like, especially AEW is just marketing solely on nostalgia because everything, no matter what it is, what's old is new again. And with the release of the Upper Deck AEW set, I think this is going to pull people back to the wrestling side of it. Maybe not get them out of sports cards completely. And I obviously anybody that keeps up with me or the show, they know that independent wrestling has been very good to me over the last 3 or 4 months, and that kind of rekindled my love for wrestling. And for years, I'd pop WWE on here and there, can't get into it. Boring as hell. Then I found AEW, and I've watched it every week for the last month, six weeks now, and it's just like it's that nostalgia because AEW has Sting, and Sting and Darby Allin actually had a tag team match the other night. That's the first time I've seen Sting in the ring in action since probably the early '90s. And I'm sitting there, my wife's beside of me, and I'm trying not to just like geek out because I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm 9 again. Like,
Yeah.
and so it's just, and the imagery on wrestling cards is just so good. And I want to collect wrestling cards just on the imagery alone, because as you can
Yeah.
imagine, in a
And
contact sport.
the big news too, CM Punk came back too. So,
Yeah,
but
and it's something. Yeah,
because honestly, I'm a huge Upper Deck fan.
big time.
I've loved them ever since they came out in 1989 because it was such a game changer, man. It was like, dude, check out the back of this card. It has a little hologram. It's a home player. It's in the shape of the field, But the thing that I loved was the photography, the triple exposure cards and stuff like that. Just in the candid photos, Topps only does that, in Stadium Club, or they'll make a super super short print of like a candid photo. But yeah, I've even their Gaudi line, and or not Gaudi, but Godwin, is it Godwin Champions?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like even those were cool. I didn't mind, pulling a card of a swimmer or a jockey because I knew that's what was in there. So I'm like, that's cool. Let me go check and make sure that person is still alive and see if I can find their address so I can try and get the card signed in the mail, stuff like that. But yeah, AEW definitely has yeah, they definitely have the nostalgia where people will recognize they'll recognize the wrestlers, even though they'll be like, that looks like Dean Ambrose, but his name's John Moxley now, or I think Daniel Bryan is coming to AEW, and I think he's going to go use part of his real name. I think it'll be like Brian Daniel or something. But
Yeah, and AEW they've got Cody Rhodes, obviously,
yep.
Dusty Rhodes' son,
And his brother.
Yeah, yeah, and then they've got Arn Anderson. He's coming. He's obviously just the manager, but his son is wrestling actually this coming Wednesday. And then you have trying to think of who else it is. There's another one that was super popular, and that he has like he'll come out and manage somebody as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm really excited for it, and yeah, I'll go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I love the fact that Upper Deck is doing AEW, but you would think that AEW would want to go with an absolute premier company like Topps or Panini, and it makes me kind of wonder if Upper Deck announcing they were doing AEW wasn't like a precursor to what was coming with Topps and Panini. Maybe like it was known beforehand, and that's why AEW didn't go with didn't go with Topps or Panini. And I could be completely wrong, but it just like that that conspiracy theorist will kind of turn into like, well, maybe they didn't go with Topps or Panini because they knew there would be no Topps or Panini, and they didn't exactly care for whatever business model Fanatics may have pitched to them or something like that. I don't know. That's just my little conspiracy theorist.
I think from everything that I've seen, I think AEW has done everything right where when they've signed these wrestlers that didn't work out in WWE for whatever reason, usually it's their lack of creativity, not the wrestlers, but the writers. They've let the wrestlers take control. And you've also mentioned that you're starting to collect wrestling figures. I don't know if you've seen any of the AEW figures. They're extremely hard to find, but when you do, they are incredibly detailed. You're not buying some junk wrestler. Like WWE has the different tiers of figures. Like behind you, I think you have the Elite Series, and those are what, like 20, 25 bucks a figure?
$29.99, yeah.
$30 for a figure that's as detailed as an AEW figure. They're as detailed as a basic AEW figure. And I want to say they're what, like 10, maybe 15 bucks?
Yeah, I think they're right. I think they're 19.99. I haven't found one, so I don't know.
And I follow the guy that actually makes the AEW figures online or on Twitter.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy, I want to say like Padwar or something, or Padawar. But he'll actually go on Twitter and be like, who do you want to see in the next wave? WWE is going to be like, we don't give a shit. Here's another Roman Reigns. Here's the 29th John Cena in a different color t-shirt, you know. But yeah, it just seems like they've done everything right, and they take pride in what they do. So maybe that's why they went with a place like Upper Deck, where they still have the name. I'm more nostalgic for Upper Deck than I am Tops, and yeah, they've always put quality in it. It's like they've never really phoned it in where we need to release a card, a card release, so we're going to do this, or like a band where it's like, oh, we got another, a record for our contract to finish that out, so let's just make a greatest hits album, type thing. But yeah, I think it's going to be cool, and I hope that they do not do sticker autographs, because for the life of me, Upper Deck has to have done sticker autographs, but not to the extent that Tops has.
Yeah,
But,
and if you look at the because they announced it, Upper Deck announced it at National,
mm-hmm.
the big national card show, that everything, it was a done deal. Everything should drop in November. They did send something out on Twitter saying it would be available in hobby and retail, and there's still some like up in the air as far as like your pack odds, box odds, that kind of thing. If you get one guaranteed like used relic or an autograph, but the I guess, like, I don't know, like promos or the prototypes of the cards they have, it did not appear that they would have stickers on them. That's still obviously yet to be seen, but there was nothing on the card that, and the card is like 5 foot
Yeah,
tall.
yeah.
But there was nothing on there that suggested that it would be sticker autos. I think that Upper Deck and AEW will get it right with and not have the sticker autos. And people, I think it's still going to be a huge hit either way. But I do think that once it comes out, if people are pulling sticker autos, that might shy people away a little bit.
Yeah, probably not enough to hurt their bottom line, because if we walk by and leave it, there's going to be 2 or 3 dudes in sweatpants and, coming behind us to get it. So, yeah. Sorry if anybody's wearing sweatpants right now.
I call them the sweatpants and flip flops tribe.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that was a good show. I actually got to be a contributing member to society tomorrow. I actually start my job after 3 months of not working. So yeah, I have to get up in the morning and wake up to an alarm clock.
What's the endeavor, the adventure you're embarking on?
Post office, man. I'm going postal.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, except I got to get up at 4 in the freaking morning. So yeah,
Is that
that
obviously before? Was that something you were used to before the little 3 month break, or?
what getting up at 4? No, I got up at noon, man. I work second shift, so
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But if any of your mail comes through Tucson, I'm going to try to make sure that I don't put it in the machine, even if you don't have a non-machinable stamp. I'm not putting it in that machine, man. I'm hand carrying everything. So
I know
yeah,
that when I do some TTMs that come through there, it'll be in good hands. So I
yeah,
feel
there you go. Only if it goes through Tucson. So yeah, but yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Oh, what are you promoting, man? You got some interviews, right?
yeah, it's so funny. I had one with Seth Greenberg from ESPN yesterday, and
Really?
the ALW's been out of commission for a couple months now. The building got shut down. They're working on getting it back fixed up, but they actually had an event at a brewery, and it was outside. And so, like last second, my wife was like, "You know what? We're just gonna sit our ass in the house, so let's go." We drove an hour and 15 minutes to the event, and I completely just like I messaged Seth back and I was like, not gonna make it, had something come up. So I literally canceled my interview to go to an ALW event. And it turned out to be quite the event because the two guys that run it got in a wreck trying to get the ring to the location, and bell time was 3:30. And so because of that wreck, they had to switch some things around. They had to, deal with the police and all that coming. So long story short, they didn't even show up with the ring till like 4:15, 4:30. And a lot of the book talent had other things to do. So half the wrestlers didn't show up. There was no referee there, and there was no one to help them set up. So me and my wife actually ended up helping more than we did, getting to watch the wrestling. And there was wrestlers that wrestled each other that weren't supposed to wrestle each other, and there was only like 3 matches as opposed to like 6 or 7. So as big of a shit show as it turned out to be really fun.
That's awesome. The joys of indie wrestling.
Yeah, and I do have a interview coming up this Tuesday at 7 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time with a dude that's been in wrestling for wrestling. Listen to that country ass accent. Wrestling for years. He's been on Impact. He's been on WCW. He's been on WWE. His name's Kid Cash. He was in ECW, and he was actually one of like 3 people that have ever had an actual contract with ECW.
I
So
remember Kid Cash. She came out to the Kid Rock theme song, man. Right towards the end of ECW's run. But yeah, that dude, he could fly, man.
yeah, so I'll be interviewing him live from, let's see if I get this right, StreamYard
There you
this
go.
this Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I'm gonna ask him autograph questions, grab talk, but we'll also get into a lot of the other wrestling stuff that people want to hear about because they don't give a shit about autographs.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Well, definitely send out a reminder on Twitter and Facebook so I can check that out because that'd be pretty cool. I'm huge ECW fan, so yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I got nothing other than I got to work, so that sucks. But thanks for tuning in, everyone, and being active in the chat. I appreciate you all more than you know, and we will see you guys next week. And here's the weird